Hello folks, Andy Bell here from the Spirit of 2016 podcast here with another one of these GAWA summer weekly roundups. Probably one of the last ones we're going to do actually. The international break is just around the corner. So yeah, don't miss me too much. But as ever, we're going to start with the roundup of the football that happened. Go on and talk a little bit about transfers. And then as far as I can see, there's not really that much news apart from that. So I'm going to try and keep this concise. I have got a little bit of a hoarse voice this week, so apologies for that. It's not COVID, I've tested negative. So yeah, without further ado, I'm going to go back to last midweek where there was League Cup and European action. So just in terms of goals, Kyle Vassell has signed for Cheltenham and scored in his debut on the same day, I believe. So yeah, I'm not going to dwell too much on that. He hasn't been in the squad for a couple of years now, but good to see him getting a League One club in Cheltenham Town, obviously under Michael Duff, previous Northern Ireland international, and who knows, good goal scoring season, he could be back in the frame. More interestingly for me though is Shane Lavery got 2-2. He started the game against Middlesbrough in midweek in the League Cup. They won 3-0. Paddy McNair wasn't involved for Middlesbrough in that one, but yeah, Lavery was terrific according to reports. Neil Critchley, the manager, came out after the game and said he led the line really well, and his goal was it was really well taken. He sort of mentioned how if you look it up on the highlights, he takes it really early, surprises the keeper. Is actually quite central to the goal. The keeper should maybe do better, but how early he takes it kind of took him by surprise, and that's why that went in. So yeah, great to see Lavery doing well. That was 2-2 for him. Kind of going on to the weekend, he was on the bench again, which was quite surprising for their game against Cardiff. Got the last 15 minutes, but they lost that 2-0. So tomorrow night, they play Coventry, I believe. Tomorrow night, as we recording this on the Monday, they play Coventry, and I'd be surprised if Lavery doesn't start that one. George Saville also on the score sheet. They beat somebody 2-1. I can't remember who it was, but for Millwall. And Dion Charles, his first goal of the season, actually his first non-penalty goal since he was called up to the squad last March. It's been a bit of a dry spell for Charles, but yeah, good to see him back there. And there's still some rumours around his future, so keep an eye on that in the next couple of weeks, see if he does get that move to the Championship, which has been touted from pretty much his call up to the international squad last March. So yeah, just moving on to the weekend. Well, actually not quite the weekend, because Kyle Lafferty scored his first goal as well for Anorthosis Famagusta. In Europe this week, they beat Rapid Vienna 2-1 at home, but lost the first leg 3-0 the week before, so they do drop down into the UEFA Conference League, where they play Lask, the Austrian side, so pretty tough one for them there actually. I think Lask got to the round of 16 or quarterfinals of the Europa League a few years ago. Seem to remember them playing United at one point, so quite big European opposition for a Conference League qualifier there, but good luck to him. And the main thing, he's getting more minutes under his belt. The actual Cypriot League hasn't started yet. It's supposed to start next weekend, but Anorthosis' opponents have agreed to pull out of that first fixture to allow them more time to prepare for the European game. But still, it doesn't matter who they're playing. Lafferty's getting minutes, which is good ahead of the international break. And then moving on to the weekend, Liam Boyce and Connor Washington both scored penalties for their respective clubs in defeats. They were the only goals of note really the weekend. Stuart Dallas, Gavin White and Niall McGinn picked up assists. Peacock Farrell kept his third clean sheet in 3 games for Sheffield Wednesday. Now we knew, going there they were going to be kind of top of the league, looking to bounce back up. But 3 clean sheets in quick succession is pretty impressive for Peacock Farrell. Hopefully that will give him the confidence that he needs going into this triple header of international breaks. And just apart from that, other interesting things. Craig Cathcart playing right back for Watford wasn't something I expected. I know he finished the season there last year, but I think a lot of people expected him to be a bit part player this year for Watford. Obviously they got a very good result at the weekend, so you'd expect him to keep his place there, and fair play to him. Right back wouldn't be something that I would have expected to see, but it could be an option for us in the future. It could be another player on the list of potentially moving Stuart Dallas into midfield. Ali McCann scored the winning penalty for St Johnstone. He played another 120 minutes, so he's getting a lot of football at the start of this season. In his legs, played Europe in midweek, been to Turkey, been back, played the Scottish League, played 120 minutes against Arbroath in the League Cup. So they drew 2-2, went through in penalties. McCann scored the winning pen, and they'll be looking obviously to retain their 2 trophies from Scotland last year. And the only other, a little bit of bad news, Corey Evans limped off by Lee Johnson's post-match comments. It doesn't seem too serious. We'll keep an eye on that one. So him, Johnny Evans and Kieran Brown are kind of the big injuries that we know about right now, who may or may not make the international break. I'll probably do a little bit of a squad prediction next week, next Monday. I'll do a bit of a roundup and a squad prediction for the squad's probably going to be announced at some point next week. You never really know when the IFA are going to announce it, but we'll have a look at who the 26, as it usually is, players are going to be in that announcement. So that kind of wraps up the roundup. I think I've covered everything there. Just quickly on transfers, there's nothing massive coming out. Ethan Galbraith's gone to Doncaster Rovers. I think we reported that last week. On loan from Manchester United. A lot of Northern Ireland fans wanted him to get a loan. They saw the benefits of McCalma going out on loan to League Two last year. Sunderland were interested for most of the summer, and there were reported links for him going to Sunderland on loan, but it's ended up being Doncaster Rovers. And albeit they lost 2-0 at the weekend, Galbraith apparently did have a very good game, and he played 90 minutes, having only signed the day before. So, if it's between playing every week at Doncaster and maybe being a bit in and out of Sunderland, we all know what we'd rather as Northern Ireland supporters there. Kai Vassell to Cheltenham I've already mentioned. And then the only other two, Kieran Brown kind of has featured in previous roundups the last couple of weeks. Mick McCarthy's come out and said he's not going to Middlesbrough now. Apparently he said the bid from Middlesbrough, from Neil Warnock, just wasn't up to scratch. It was nowhere near their valuation, and he says he's got a year left in his contract, and he has been offered a contract extension at Cardiff. And Mick McCarthy said he'd actually rather let him go for free next summer if he chooses not to sign that extension, rather than get a paltry fee in now and not being able to spend it. Obviously, he mentioned actually what we've said as Northern Ireland fans quite a bit about the fact he can play left back, left centre back, left wing back. So key player, not key player, but important player, useful player is probably the word I should use for Northern Ireland and Cardiff squads in this season coming up. And then the only last one is Matty Kennedy, who may or may not be in the squad in September, but he hasn't played at all for Aberdeen. I think first couple of games of the season maybe he was on the bench, unused substitute, but he hasn't been in the squad at all in the last few. And the Evening Express in Aberdeen are reporting that he's closing in on a loan move to St Mirren. The St Mirren manager has actually talked about that link openly. Obviously, does the usual thing, respectful. He's an Aberdeen player, this, that and the other, but it does look like he's going there. And it hasn't really worked out for him very much at Aberdeen ever since he moved there from St Johnstone, where he had posted quite decent numbers. I think it was 6 goals, 4 assists in the first half of the season before he went that January. Hasn't worked out as well for him, but he is only 26, 27. It's not the death of his career, and I'd rather he got another Scottish Premiership club than drop down the leagues or find himself without a club at all. So good luck to him. Can't see him being in the squad for September, if I'm honest, especially seeing that we don't really appear to be playing with wingers anymore. I know he played left back in one of the friendlies, but I'd kind of rather see Kieran Brown get another game there. Jamal Lewis, Shane Ferguson as well. I just think there's players above in the pecking order. So that's my opinion on Matty Kennedy right now. So yeah, thank you very much for tuning in as ever, guys. Do give us a subscribe on YouTube. Follow us on Twitter at Spirit of 2016 Pod. Do stay tuned for the podcast coming up. We'll have a pre-Lithuania, post-Lithuania, all the games, hopefully have some interviews with opposition journalists, giving us a little bit more insight into those teams. That'll all be out on the Spirit of 2016 podcast, which is available on SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts and Spotify. So do give us a subscribe on those. Thanks very much for tuning in. Enjoy the rest of your weeks, and I'll see you again next week. Bye-bye.